is soup season, as I said last week in a soup video, and I'm going to make another soup today. This soup is a carrot and parsnip ginger soup, and it's delicious. You can make a vegan version if you wish. I'm going to make mine with chicken broth, because that's what I have. This is a wonderful soup, actually, to make for Thanksgiving. It has a lot of flavor in it, and it's a wonderful way to kick off a meal if your family is like mine and we like some soup on Thanksgiving Day. Since my Thanksgiving crowd has not come in yet, I'm going to make a relatively small batch of this soup, just for maybe 2 or 3 people, with a little left over for lunch the next day. This soup has a couple of surprising ingredients, but let's start with the basics. You're going to need carrots and parsnip, basically an equal weight of each. You'll need a knob of ginger, not that much, but about, maybe a 2-inch knob. You need 1 apple and 1 medium onion. That's going to be the base for it. For the broth, I'm using chicken broth. I'm actually going to use 4 cups of chicken broth. Surprise ingredient at the end is some orange juice, and I'm going to use about a cup of orange juice. If I had fresh oranges, I'd squeeze fresh oranges, but this is just regular orange juice, and it works just fine. Here are the spices that you're going to need. You're going to need some curry powder. You're going to need some coriander. You're going to need some cumin. I put in a little bit of hot pepper. This is my hot pepper blend. Some salt, some pepper, surprise ingredient, some cinnamon. First things first, chop up your ingredients. I'm just going to chop my carrots and my parsnips, my apple and my onion, and my ginger. All right, so everything's all chopped. You don't have to worry about chopping things up too fine, because ultimately these things are going to be blended up at the end. We're going to start the process by heating our pan up to a medium. All right, that's all ready. Oh, this is a neutral oil. I'm using just a canola oil. We are going to start with the onions. Here goes my cat. She always skedaddles every single time. Give that a small stir around. This is over a medium heat. I'm going to add in the ginger and the carrots. And just give it a stir. Let that go for about a minute. Then I'm going to add in the parsnips. Here come the parsnips. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. I firmly believe the parsnips are deeply undervalued in our country. If you've ever had parsnips roasted with honey and cinnamon, or just roasted with olive oil, salt, and pepper, they're so good. And for this soup, they add a real zip to it. So sometimes carrots can be a little meh, but bringing in the parsnips really gives a depth and power punch of flavor. I confess I had never had a parsnip until I was almost 40 years old. And it was life-changing, I always say. And I'm going to add in some of our spices. The cumin. There's 1 teaspoon, and I'm going to add just a little bit more. Next, I'm going to put in the coriander. Maybe about a teaspoon. Here's about a teaspoon of the curry powder. Oh, it smells so good. Here comes a little bit of the hot pepper. Not like that. Well, maybe a little less. Not like that. Give that a stir. Here comes the cinnamon. That is some flavor. And stir. I'm just going to stir this and let it cook over that medium heat for about 5 minutes. This has been going for about 5 minutes, and so I'm going to give it 1 more stir. Then I'm going to stir in the apples. And now it's time to add the chicken broth. I'm putting in a total of 4 cups of chicken broth. And I'm going to add some salt. If your chicken broth is really salty, you might not need to add salt. So do test. So that soup is, I'm bringing it up to a boil, then I'm going to put a top on it, and I'm going to turn the heat down to a simmer and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. That's really all it needs. Man, I can't wait to have this soup. Once you have cooked this for about 30 minutes, you're just going to take it off the heat, and then you're going to blend it with an immersion blender, or you can put it in a regular blender or food processor. Finally, you're going to put it back on the stove and add about a half a cup of orange juice. Bring it up to heat and then let it cook for about 1 minute, then serve. I like to put a little bit of yogurt or sour cream on top. All right, let's give it a go. It does look good. It's really good. Give it a go. So as always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you're doing well. Take care.